Welcome to Cycle 2, Week 15. Your foundation student is memorizing metric measurements, the two forms of energy, World War I countries, and more this week. Let's talk about why this memory work is useful, not just in your child's future, but right now. Let's start with metric measurements. 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. 1,000 meters equals 1 kilometer. If your foundation student is very young, this is a fun fact to hear them recite. It's adorable to hear such tiny voices say such big words. Young kids also have an idea of what it means, even at this young age. Memorizing metric conversions has so much use beyond just math. All subjects are connected, and the integrations abound here. Those Latin and Greek roots prepare students for other terms that they're going to encounter in all of their studies. Words like millennium, centurion, diametric, to name a few. Those conversions are especially useful in science as they learn more SI units. These conversions don't just apply to units of measuring length, but also time, using seconds, temperature with Kelvin, mass, that's grams, current, using amperes, and substance, which is moles. They'll encounter each set of these units at different times in the coming years, but a student who has a strong memorized base of metric conversions can quickly apply that to other units. By the way, a deep dive that I don't have time to get into here is the history of the metric system. It's fantastic. Your student will love diving into it in Challenge 4, and a hint, it actually begins over here in one of our timeline cards this week with the Age of Enlightenment. Check it out. Week 15 science focuses on kinetic and potential energy. What's the difference? Well, kinetic is energy in motion, potential is energy waiting to be released. This is an abstract concept, but one that kids of all ages can grasp. Check out this week's Sandbox e-zine on CC Connected. There's a simple but really fun activity where you can make a slingshot for marshmallows, and you can use that to demonstrate potential and kinetic energy. The two types of energy show up again in Challenge 1 as your students study physical science, and then they show up again in Challenge 3 through the study of chemistry. And finally, in Challenge 4, students tackle physics, they tackle calculus, and the problem of change. So yeah, the memory work in Week 15 is simple. Kinetic, potential, that's it. But it's setting up a category of thinking. Once they understand these two types of energy, combined with Newton's laws of motion starting next week, suddenly the physical world starts becoming more explainable. Motion has reason, change has a cause, and it all starts with memorizing just a few facts. All right, this week's history is World War I again, but different. Week 14, last week, was about leaders. Who led which country during the conflict? Week 15 is about the alliances. Who fought together and against whom? It goes like this. During World War I, Great Britain, France, and Russia were allies and fought against Austria-Hungary and Germany, which were called the Central Powers. In 1917, the United States entered the war, assisting the allies. Still not singing? First of all, take a moment to pause and reflect on the fact that your child is now in the minority of Americans who can correctly name the countries that fought in World War I. What's the point of memorizing this information? Well, that's a big one. Well done. This history sentence is a strong memory peg for your child. Don't skip mastery of this one. Knowing the powers involved in World War I, or the Great War, helps your student build the classical skill of relationship, which is one of the 5 common topics. The ability to consider and identify relationship is a necessary part of becoming proficient in the art of dialectic. Sorry, those were a lot of classical words, but here's what I mean. In 1914, one assassination quickly turned into a massive global war. That doesn't just happen. So questions quickly arise. What alliances had already been made? What treaties had already been signed? What wars had already been fought? What hostilities already existed between these countries? And what in the world is Austria-Hungary? There are also questions that arise after the war, like which countries ended up with more or less land? New alliances or new hostilities? A stronger economy or a weaker economy? Or complete economic revolution? They didn't name it World War I at the time, so how did we end up with Part 2? And where did the Ottoman Empire go? Your student can dig into these questions right now as you read your favorite world history storybook. This adds detail to the history sentence and builds their mental world history timeline. It turns a snapshot into a movie. As your students get older and enter the challenge program, they read the primary sources. In challenge 1, students read original documents, annotate them, and begin to form their own opinions by reasoning from the evidence. In challenge 3, as your student studies U.S. history, World War I is an important part of the American story. Your student begins to understand how global conflict shaped American identity, policy, and culture. And then they use that understanding to gain wisdom and insight for what they see in the world today. A liberal arts education creates free people, and free people understand the causes and effects of past conflicts. That's the topic of relationship. Now, this history sentence isn't an exhaustive list. World War I began in Europe, but it quickly spread and was fought in a lot of countries, hence the name. For example, when the Ottoman Empire joined the war, fighting expanded into the Levant. Where's that? Great question. Let's look at this week's geography. The Levant is Turkey, Cyprus, Syria, Iraq, Iran. These names matter because Middle Eastern geography matters. They also matter because World War I happened there. This was the Ottoman Empire. Borders were redrawn after the war. Colonial interests came in. The stage was set for the current world. By challenge 3 and 4, when students study global conflict and geopolitics, these regions have meaning. See, we're not raising our children to become adults who have uninformed opinions about places they can't even find on a map. We're raising them to be responsible citizens who could point to those places on a map before they could read. We're raising ones who learned to draw the entire world from memory before they could drive, and ones who spent years wrestling with big ideas before they could vote. Adults who know enough to understand how little they know, and with the humility to continue seeking wisdom. This is classical education doing what it does best, connecting knowledge. History connects to geography. Geography connects to politics. Primary sources connect to reasoning. None of it works unless there's a solid foundation of what actually happened and where it happened. So here's what you need to remember this week. Metric measurements, kinetic and potential energy, World War I countries, and the Levant. They're all training the same skill. They're teaching your student to think about processes and systems and causation, not just facts. Metric units don't just measure, they relate. Energy doesn't just exist, it transfers. History doesn't just happen, it unfolds. Geography isn't just location, it's context. When your challenge student is frustrated with a physics problem, trace it back. They're applying their week 15 understanding of energy. When they're debating a historical question, they're drawing on primary sources and regional context. Memory work is reasoning work. Okay, that's cycle 2, week 15. Until next time, remember that learning is a lifestyle, so be an everyday educator.